Hello, grade 7 learners. My name is teacher Isaac Oyoo from Greenview Schools, Kamulu. Today, I'm going to take you through agriculture and nutrition. Welcome. So today, we're going to talk about food production processes. We're going to talk about food production processes. So before we begin, we need to define the terms that we have here. We're going to begin with the food. So what is food? So, food is any substance that we consume by eating in order to sustain life. Any substance we consume by eating in order to sustain life. So we have described our first word. So we're going to talk about production. We're going to talk about production. So what is production? This is the act of making something. So if somebody asks you to define production, this is the act of making something. In our case, it is the act of making food. This is the act of making something. So in our case, it's food. Then we are going to define processes. Talk about processes. So these are activities that we do in order to come up with food. So when you want to come up with the food, you must get involved in some of the processes. So those are what we call the processes. They are the activities that we do to come out with the food. So now we are going to look at some of the. So under food production processes, we are going to identify some of the crop planting sites. So we're going to identify some of the crop planting sites in our school and also at home. Look at some of the areas that we can produce the food. So we're going to look at the picture. There we have along the path. So you can produce the food along the path. Next, you can do food production in garden or a farm. So if you have a farm, you can produce the food in a farm or a garden. So you can see there in the picture, there's food production in a farm or a garden. We can also do food production in a container, especially if you don't have a place at home. You can get some containers and do food production in container. This will also help in recycling the containers that we have at home. Another way of food production, you can do food production on the wall. This will help you to utilize the wall well, and you will have enough food for you. You can also produce food along the walls. So if you have a fence at home, you can also utilize the space that you have at home or even in school to produce the food. So I want us to look at some of the planting sites for the crop that we have looked at in the picture. Number one, we have the garden or a farm. Number two, along the fence, so you can do food production along the fence. Number three, you can do food production in containers. Number four, you can also do food production on walls. And number five, you can also do food production along the paths to the building. We are now going to do a recap of what we have learned. So we have learned about planting site for the crops. Number one, we have talked about you can do food production on walls, you can do food production along the paths or the buildings. And we have also looked at the pictures. There we have the picture of food production along the path. We also have a picture of food production in gardens and farms. We also have a picture of food production in containers. We also have a picture of food production on the wall. And finally, we have food production along the walls. Now that we have come to the end of our lesson, we are going to do a certain activity. So you have an extended activity there for you to do. So in this activity, I want you to name 5 suitable sites for planting crops. Name 5 suitable sites for planting crops. My dear learners, we have come to the end of our lesson today. I hope you have learned and enjoyed our lesson. I have been your teacher, Teacher Isaac Oyoo. Let's meet next time. Bye.